Let's try this one more time, shall we? Head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Kevin OConnell. After the game on Saturday, the Vikings won it. Love JJ, love Darnold, ran the heck out of the ball. Names to talk about all week. Kevin OConnell talked to the media, and here it is.
All right, guys, before I open it up to questions, just wanted to, quickly acknowledge Kyrie Jackson's family. Really thankful for them coming up and spending a couple days with us. I thought it was a very special moment for our team, not only today with the pregame and having his little brother Colt, go out and win the coin toss for us, but also just spending time with the whole family. And then yesterday, just a beautiful celebration of life we had privately as a team with his family, and just want to make sure they always know that they're part of our Vikings family moving forward. So really special couple days welcoming them, not only today but yesterday as well, and just really thankful for them doing that, because Kyrie's for sure been on all of our hearts and minds as we've worked through training camp. As far as the game goes, proud of our guys. It's good to get the first one of these in the preseason. Thought it might come down to a kick. Told the team last night I thought Will would kick the game winner, and he did. Really proud of the way defensively, 6 drives in the second half, holding them to 5 3-and-outs, I think it was, getting us the ball back in the 4-minute situation. Offensively, some really good execution in the pass game. Ran for 6.5 a carry on the night. Thought the guys, really took a lot of the things we're working on the practice field and brought it out here and made it come to life. Still could be a lot cleaner. Had a couple pre-snaps, self-inflicted type things that we'll have to correct, on our 90-man roster as we, attempt to try to gain some momentum here in the preseason. Quarterback-wise, I thought Sam did a great job starting the game. Really efficient drive down the field. Tried to give him a shot there on 4th down. Bang play to Speedy. And then JJ coming in, just unbelievable reps for him. Really learning reps here and there. 3rd down, kind of competitive rep. He tries to make a play, and a good player in Jack Jones undercuts the ball a little late there. But JJ, how about him battling, coming right back, and especially coming out of half, I really wanted to see how he could come in, take some coaching as a group, and then let's go out and execute and try to put some points on the board and find a way to win a football game. And Jaron leading the 2-minute at the end, and then, I thought Ryan Wright and Will to kick the game winner, and Ryan, I think he averaged, 57 or so, but no sacks, 6.5 a carry. Hopefully the quarterbacks are in there starting their post game talking about the O-line, because I thought they did a nice job as well.
How do you evaluate JJ's touchdown passes? Are those easy throws, or do they just make them look easy?
No, I thought the go ball was beautiful. It's just a go ball. Tristan did a great job closing the space, stepping on the corner's toes and slipping by him, and JJ 5-1 hitch, ball out, trusting him to go to the spot. Beautiful throw. And then the second throw second touchdown to Trent, really off of a hard play action. Started to feel them, kind of fit gaps a little quicker, and thought we could maybe get an easy one over the top, but you still got to hit it. And once again, comes off the fake, eyes up, 1 hitch, ball out. So really positive. Had a big conversion there to Muse on a 3rd down. So I thought there was a lot of positives and a lot of things that we'll be able to coach off of. Really did like the groups we had out on the field, liked the way we were able to get these guys some good work early. I think it was 12 plays, maybe that first drive, and then we kept some guys in there who we wanted to see, continue to progress with where they're at. Guys like, Tristan Jackson and Naylor had a really good night. Sherfield, guys that, have been doing things on the practice field. It was great to see some of those guys just come out and have fun and put it on display for our Vikings fans to see.
Having JJ come back out for the 3rd quarter after taking some coaching, was that the plan the whole time, or did you come to that over the course of the game?
Yeah, that was the plan. He was always gonna start the 3rd quarter, and I had a certain number of reps in mind. I think these, we talk a lot about this development plan. A huge part of it is these real game reps where there's coaches on the sideline. It's just them and the defense and the officials out there, and I want to, see him continue to progress. But clearly everybody can see the arm talent. I just loved seeing him come right back after, the interception and still be aggressive, still stay true to, footwork, timing, rhythm, where his eyes should be. So there was a lot of positives with JJ's performance tonight, and a lot of areas where we'll be able to hit the ground running when these guys are back in on Monday.
What he did do out there change anything fundamentally for you about where he's at in his development or where he's at in his progression and those sort of things?
Yeah, I think at this point, Kevin, I'm just looking for, continue to for him to improve, look comfortable in our system. And like I said at the very beginning, no ceiling or no floor. But at the same time, I think, we want to be smart about that development and make sure that his training camp is absolutely going to plan, whether it's, reps with the ones, competitive reps, twos versus the one defense, and then these critical preseason snaps. And I think next week in Cleveland, the joint practices will be huge for him. Like it will be for our whole team. Really looking forward to going to play a really physical, tough team. I think Kevin does an unbelievable job as a head coach, and we've put together 2 really good days of work. So although this was a game, and I'm very thankful to get my first preseason win since I've been here, I do look at it as just another glorified kind of singular step in the process.
Lots of talk, Kevin, about your list for JJ. Like there's checkpoints. More importantly than like a competition with Sam, there's actual checkpoints. How lengthy is that list, and how much do games affect this? You got practices, you got games, joint practices. How much do games play a role in that list and, to quote you, seeing live action? Yeah,
if there's a list out there that exists, that would be my first time seeing it. I believe coaching is a little bit more holistic, organic, whatever word you want to use. I think Josh and Grant are doing a great job with that room. I think all those guys, and specifically Sam and JJ, are ahead of where I thought they would be at this point. But there's a feeling, there's a mindset towards the position. There's an overall belief in the development of the position that I'm way more focused on controlling what we can control, which is, how we put together practice, how we layer learn, how we allow confidence to build, and ownership to build. Like I said, if you've got that list, man, I'd love to see it.
I thought you had the list.
No, if it's anywhere.
Say that you got a list.
Yeah, if it's anywhere, it's somewhere in my mind. But there's a lot of other crazy stuff in there too.
Kevin, was Gabe Murphy hurt tonight?
He was. Yeah, he was dealing with something. We, like I told you guys on Thursday, there was a good group of guys that we just, in the smallest of things, we want to make sure that they're healthy, because next Wednesday and Thursday are huge for a lot of guys. So we just wanted, it's been a physical camp, and the byproduct of that sometimes, especially these games where you wanted to maybe see a few more guys out there, we tried to be smart with those guys, still knowing we had, our collection of O-linemen ready to roll. We had, a good amount of our guys on defense. But yeah, as we move forward into these joint practices, we're expecting to have, Grenard, Van Ginkel, a lot of those guys back, and then Aaron Jones as well pretty quickly here to go along with Harry, Jets, and Van Ginkel he's still kind of on a timeline, but he's in a really good spot right now. So really it was just Harry and Jets, and then there was some reasonings behind everybody else for health purposes. But the plan was to at least get our starters some work.
There was a report that Stephon Gilmore is going to come in for a visit, I think this Monday or whenever. Is that accurate, first of all? And second, where do you kind of see that whole group?
Yeah, I think, what I can say is I think Kwesi and his staff have been looking for ways, as we've really tried to piece together a plan, having lost, 2 young players that we won to injury, and obviously with Kyrie's very, very unfortunate situation, there's been a significant hit to the depth there. We brought in Fabian, which was great. I think he's come in and hit the ground running. The versatility of Jay Ward, I know you guys saw him at corner. He's still very much, a guy that can play really 2 or 3 spots with his skill set. Bobby McCain flashed to me a little bit tonight as well. But as far as guys we'll potentially add, I know we're going to be, constantly trying to figure out if there's a player out there that we can add to this team that has a chance to help us win. And, I've had a ton of respect in Stephon Gilmore's career, playing against him. This is a guy that's done it at a really high level for a long time. So if that's something that ends up being a possibility, I know Kwesi and his staff will get us going in the right direction.
You talked about JJ bouncing back from interception. right away.
Yeah.
How hard is that to do in real time?
Especially in your first game. He was excited. He was ready to roll. I mean, this is an unbelievable home environment. A lot of our new guys, they were kind of blown away. Hey, this is just a preseason game, but this place is unbelievable. So that's one of the reasons why you love having this opportunity in front of our fans. It's important to me to win at home, whether they count or not in the long run, because we want to build a team that can win football games at home, and our fans deserve it. And I think JJ was excited about being in this environment, being at US Bank Stadium. I wanted the guys to go through just the whole game day feel from the hotel, getting here for, warm-ups, going through a day, and then go out there and have themselves a successful day. And I think, I did want to let you guys know the only, real injury to report is Jabril Cox. Got a little bit of a groin. We'll see how he turns over moving forward. But for playing so many guys, that was my number one priority, was hopefully get good work. And I think it just speaks to where our team's at, and they're physically, our attempt to physically prepare them for the season. I'm happy with the way training camp went.
What did you see on the interception for JJ, and what was kind of his explanation, thought process there?
Yeah, so, let's just dive in. It was corners over, so he knew it was man-to-man. They ended up bringing a backer. Kane attempted to, pick up that pressure. It was a pretty violent hit right at his feet. We call that an NFL pocket. Felt a little bit, got to go back and watch it, but felt like maybe he could have put his foot in the ground and delivered that ball to Tristan a little faster. He kind of chose to then move to his right, and ball got undercut a little late there, as he kind of moved to his right and still tried to put it on Tristan. But he definitely, knew kind of right away kind of where he was at with everything, and was ready to go right back out there. But, I think his recognition and everything, it's just that feel of those weighty downs, which is, was a very similar, I don't know if it was the same exact call from PG on the other side when we did hit Nick Muse in the third quarter there across the middle, but felt very similar. And I think that was a little bit more the ideal rhythm and timing of putting that ball on Nick, accurately, and we moved the chains and scored a touchdown on the drive.
It's nice to see the Dallas Turner speed rush get home a couple times and have 3 rookies get a sack today.
Yeah, what did we have? We had Richter had 2, I think, maybe, unless they took one of them away. It's a shame. Who'd they give it to?
I think they called it a quarterback run.
Those don't exist. But Dallas's sack and then Levi. I mean, I just felt some of those young guys active. But yeah, it helps. I mean, Dallas has basically been going against Christian Darrisaw for the better part of 3 weeks now. So I think he was happy to come to US Bank Stadium and not see number 71 standing across from him. I think, we'll go back and look at the tape. I think they drove it on us pretty good in the first half. We'll figure out, kind of what worked and what didn't. Maybe, give guys some more ops, make sure we're smart about the Cleveland game and the Philly game, because we're going to be, trying to be competitive in those games regardless of who plays. Just want to keep stacking positive momentum for, it's a different team this year. It's a younger team. There's a lot of guys that we're trying to fast-track development at different positions. And ultimately, I just like the enthusiasm. I like the juice. I like guys that have laser focus on just that daily progress that we talk about.
Just with Jalen Naylor, you've showed a lot of belief in him throughout the last couple of years. How have you seen it kind of come together for him during camp?
Those of you guys that everybody here has been at training camp, seeing him make plays. So to see him show up, what did he have? 3 for 63, three explosives. That's what he's capable of. Really played X tonight, so in Justin Jefferson's spot in that first group, and showed up. Ran some really good routes, has a great way about him, but he also has the versatility to maybe go inside, and we're gonna continue to feed him and give him ops, because we've always been excited about him. It's just been an availability thing, and he stacked some really, really good weeks together now, which has always been kind of to be expected as long as he can keep putting it together. And I'm really proud of where he's at, the work, the off season, getting ready to go with a real laser focus on what he wants to accomplish this year.
Head coach Kevin OConnell talking with the media after Saturday's 24-23 Vikings preseason victory at US Bank Stadium. More coverage on that game, on the preseason, as the Vikes look forward to some joint practices with the Browns and ultimately are playing the Cleveland Browns on Saturday afternoon. You'll get to hear that right here on The Fan. You'll get to hear the analyst, Pete Berich. He joins PA next 9 to 9.
I think I'm gonna switch over, man. I think he's gonna have the full rights to JJ from now on. Yep. And I think I'm gonna be the Jets, man. I think I'm gonna keep. Oh, there we go.
Oh, here it is. McCarthy, 45 yards to Tristan Jackson, and with Justin Jefferson cheering on the sideline, it's 2013 Raiders. I mean, this is the greatest, Justin.
There we go, Paul.
That's we get.
Bercich. What's going on, analyst?
Good morning, man. How are you? That was fun, wasn't it?
Good morning, my brother. Yeah, as preseason games would go, I think that probably was the most memorable. The third quarter with Justin, and then the walk-off by the rookie, just the overall preseason game probably excited me and all of us as much as I'd have to go back to 2018 in Denver when a certain analyst had seen enough in Kirk Cousins and said, that's it, I've seen enough, put him on ice.
I always love that one.
And let's just get into the regular season. So the third quarter with Jefferson was just a second to none energy trip. And good morning.
Good morning. Yes, it was. And, congratulations. Good job on Saturday. And, and here you go. You wake up today, you have a big scrimmage tonight, or at least a big practice at night tonight, and you fly out to Cleveland tomorrow for 2 practices against a very good and physical Cleveland Browns team. And then, so that's training camp, right? It's like, nice job, great, but here we go. Next day's on, and you got to build upon what you did, and that's going to be the challenge for, all these guys.
So, indeed, it's off to Cleveland tomorrow. 9 to noon radio shows from a ballroom adjacent to the lobby, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The analyst will help when he can with those. And we'll be at those practices and everything. And, just now, we're really getting to learn the level of respect Kevin Stefanski and Kevin OConnell have for each other. The full anticipation is that they'll put each other's teams in spots the coaches want, and there will be some compromising situations. And the level of respect those two guys have for each other is going to make Wednesday and Thursday a lot of fun, right?
It is, and I think that's a key point to really all of this in the preseason, Paul, because if it's the preseason and you're a new coach or a coach that might be on the ropes, you can do a lot of things that are there's a gentleman's code, the preseason, right? Yeah. You keep it simple. You don't run fakes. You don't. There's a whole kind of a code there, and if you don't trust the person you're going up against, that's when you get weird things in the preseason, or a ton of blitzes on defense, or a lot of offensive formations that you've never seen, or a lot of quote unquote game plan going into a game. That's for the regular season. That's when, right? That's when anything goes, right? Anything goes. You do what you have to do. Swinging gate on a PAT or whatever, that's fine. But now you want to keep it simple enough where you're making your team better. That's the goal right now, is to make, not to win, but to make teams better. So you have to go up against another organization that feels the same way and is going to do the same things, and it's controlled. That's why these scrimmages really trending. They were trending to take precedent over preseason games, to be more important, because you get less injuries because it is controlled, that kind of thing. So it's very important, though. So Stefanski and O'Connell, they're putting aside egos and saying, let's just do what we do, and it's going to make both of us better, and hopefully you have 2 good days of work. And you get just exactly that. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, you know better than anybody because you played and you coached and now you've analyzed for nearly 2 decades. So, no blanket scenarios established off one preseason game, except, like your guy in Chicago where you are now, Caleb Williams. Okay, well, he's first overall pick. He's supposed to be really good. And in his first game, he looked really, really, really in control and good. But the front 7 here, all right, the defensive linemen, the linebackers, the edge guys. I thought the front 7, just specifically with the depth, really, really looked good and changed the game. And that was without the undrafted Gabriel Murphy, who I believe they happen to like a lot. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you. A lot of guys showed up, and don't forget, Van Ginkel didn't play at all. It was great to see Dallas Turner, do what he did. He's a physical specimen, and we saw that, and we saw it against an offensive tackle who is not a rookie. He's played before. Andrew Speed is a backup guard. That's how he's listed. So let's just leave it at that. But it was good to see some guys. Andre Carter get out there. He looks like he's gotten bigger. We've heard a lot about Patrick Jones and how well he's played. We did not even see Jonathan Bernard out there. So Paul, we were concerned. This was a concern going into last year. Was just what are we going to do on the inside with the three-man defensive lines, and they found a way to make it work all throughout the year. And so, defensively, this is a perfect example of a game where you're not going to play a lot of games. We played a lot of 3-deep zone type coverage, and I don't remember I don't recall much at all just playing basic 8-man front, 3-deep zone last year. So it's not a staple of what we do. So when you don't do it every day, and it's not the thing that you do, you don't get the nuances. You don't know when you get a clear route and a deep long crosser that the corner and the safety can pass those things off, and you don't practice all those things per se, and so they don't look good. We saw Josh Metellus playing deep middle safety in a 3-deep zone coverage last year. That happened 2 times, 3 times. You know what I mean? Guys were in spots and they were doing things you don't see a lot of, and we got to get used to it. So I'm not panicking on the defensive backfield at all. Do they have to start looking better? Yeah, absolutely. Of course they got to get better. But at the same time, I'm not too worried about what, we got some things to figure out now, right? We got a lot of guys, we got a lot of bodies that we got to figure out, but I'm not worried about that yet.
Darnold got 1 series. What did you think?
Good, accurate, on time, managed the offense well. I mean, the throw that speed out to Jordan Addison, to me was a throw that it's an NFL quarterback throw. It's from a far hash all the way across the field. It was on time. It was perfectly thrown. It was only a 5-6 yard gain or whatever. But those are the kinds of throws that we've seen Cousins make, for years. That's what made him so good. He also had a really nice throw to Jalen Naylor on an in route that he threw just over the linebacker, just underneath the safety. So I was impressed with what we saw out of him. We didn't see a ton, but managed a good series, and he's another guy. Just okay, good. That's a good start, but let's keep going. And I think there's a big difference there. McCarthy's young and he's learning. McCarthy, I think, started out a little bit slowly. The bootlegs and the timing and everything, the game was just a little bit fast for him, but he responded. That means when we go to Cleveland and he gets in there, he's got to pick up where he left off.
And the anticipation is, or perhaps he might even play a little more and maybe play with some form of the ones, depending on how the joint practices go. The analyst Pete Berich at Pete Berich via Twitter for hardcore football takes. And if you would like to interact about the NFL, Vikings football, or Metallica, it is at Pete Berich via the tweet machine. Nordo brought up something earlier, and I heard it on Fan Line with Ian Ron. And then, so now you look at the corner situation. Okay, Shaq Griffin didn't play. So the Raiders come into it, no joint practices this offseason. They had an offensive plan, and they executed it pretty well with Aiden O'Connell, took them down the field, and they got a score. Jacoby Myers couldn't be found in whatever defense they were playing. Now, Jacoby, as two receivers go behind Devontae, he's pretty good. And he had a career-high 8 touchdowns last year. So with that in mind, with who was out there first, and then after that, anything eye-opening with the cornerback situation heading into the next one?
No, not really. I mean, that's kind of the hard part is, Bobby McCain. Yeah, he stepped up and had a nice hit, but I don't think we saw anyone really stand out. Caleb Evans has some work to do, right? He's got to get more fluid with his hips. He's got to make sure him missing that tackle early on was disappointing because that's something that as a corner in this defense you have to do well. That's you could see it out of the Raiders. That was what we saw last year from a quote unquote game plan standpoint, right? The quick throws on the outside make guys rally and tackle. So how much do you practice that in preseason, right, Paul? Is that a staple of your offense if you're Oakland? No, I don't think so. I think that's something that they wanted to do against us in case we lined up a bunch of guys at the line of scrimmage and decided to blitz. That's what I'm talking about game plan wise. Yeah. Anyway, my point though, for Caleb, you've got to make that tackle. You've got to get better. I think you're going to see a lot of different guys out there and especially in practice, somebody's going to have to step up and take that number 3 corner spot for sure. And it's going to be a mixed bag, I think, of a lot of different bodies until we find a couple guys that stand out. The part that's different is just who we have. Shaq Griffin going into his 8th year, Fabian Moreau going into his 8th year, AJ Green going into his 4th year, Bobby McCain going into year 10, and then Deshaun Wright when we'll hopefully see him maybe this weekend as well. So a lot more veterans, a lot more experienced guys out there in that pile. But we'll figure it out and we'll keep going.
How much?
Go ahead.
How much related to how we're trying to analyze these in games versus practice? The preseason games, you're not seeing your A frontline guys potentially defensively within that front 7, and maybe there's more basic coverages that are being deployed over the course of these games. So I saw several moments, and PA mentioned it. They couldn't find Jacoby Myers if their life depended on it, specifically early in the game. And you saw a lot of coverage issues and maybe even communication issues that persisted on the back end early in the game. So how do you analyze that where, as you mentioned, the tackling's got to be better? That's something measurable that you can see in a game like this. But are there other things maybe me as an outsider I need to pump the brakes on, considering how Flores might be running or not running the front 7?
No, I think again that as far as seeing some of these guys, the amount of routes that were open or appeared to be open down the field, right?
Yeah.
They were a lot of those routes were good routes to run against a team that plays a lot of 3 deep, and that's what they were seeing, and that's what they ran. And again, we don't run that. If we run 3 deep zone, there's something similar to it as if we're sending 5 or we're zone blitzing, or I just don't recall a lot of simple 8-man box. The slot receiver goes across and we squirm the safeties, meaning Josh Metellus now goes from being in the box to deep middle safety. I mean, like I say, he wasn't in that position much at all a year ago. I just think that they had a very simple game plan in the back end, and it kind of showed up that you were missing some people. Now that's where it's good to have a guy like Harrison Smith maybe back there who knows this thing. He's done it before, can help maybe direct traffic early in the season in a preseason game or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, your expectations are that they shore a lot of this up. And if you're going to play something going into a preseason game, you need to get better at doing so, especially at handling some of these routes. Whether or not they'll change and do a little bit more like we see during the regular season, I don't know. That's that line you walk between tipping your cap and showing what you're doing and getting the basics ready for the season. So, like I said, it didn't look good, right? I'm sure that group wants to play better. I'm sure that Durante Jones is on the cornerbacks and getting after them, and Hutchings is all over the safeties. That group, those they have to play better. Question is are they going to help them with some game plan this week, or are we going to see some of the same things? But like I said, I'm not panicking yet with that group, not yet.
I dig that. Mr. Bercich, limited snaps, but getting to see Dallas Turner for the first time in pads against a team in this environment. What'd you think about the rookie?
He's an unbelievable athlete, right? I mean, he had a couple of speed moves. He had a hit on a quarterback and then comes back later and gets a sack. He's everything that you expected out of him. That's why he was, SEC co-defensive player of the year. But yeah, he's going to have to build upon that. He's going to see more athletic tackles as starters. So the speed move and the speed is going to still be one thing or one part of his game, but he's going to have to learn, how to switch to power and how to counter a lot of different things. But just him making a couple plays, I think, is good because it gets him excited and gets all of us excited. But I was impressed with Dallas Turner. I thought he did a good job, made a lot of impact. They ran him in on third downs, if you noticed, I think going in the second quarter, maybe the third quarter, and that's kind of how I think you're going to see a lot of him early in the season, right? I mean, Gennard and Van Ginkel are going to be out there most of the time, and I think when you get a team 3rd and 7 and longer, you're going to see number 15 trotting down the field, and now you've got a number of different guys that can get after the quarterback. So, I was very excited to see what he did, and he can move, and it shows on the field too.
Let me switch to the offense momentarily, Pete. The run game, something that I think needs to improve in 2024. I think most would agree. And Kenny Wanwu gets loose for 48. Didn't know he had it in him. I knew he had the speed, but it looked fantastic. But overall, if you take that 48-yard touchdown out of the mix, the team averaged about just under 4.5 a carry. So no Aaron Jones. I totally get that. But, anything about the run game, maybe it's even kind of the flow of the game and the play calling itself. Anything that piqued your interest at a Ty Chandler, getting to see a little Dwayne McBride on the back end. The rookie QB got out for a scramble or two. What'd you think of the run offense?
I'm still wondering what our philosophy is going to be and what our identity is going to be in the running game, because I think Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, and Kene Wanwu they're all different, right? They're all kind of different types of different styles. When you saw Ty Chandler in there, you got a couple counters and those kinds of things. And then I just hope they decide to keep it simple, and let these guys kind of do their thing. And I think that's, with Kene Wanwu, he's not a zone, I think, off tackle running back. I mean, I would love to see him just do like they did with Dalvin every once in a while, and that's run a 2-back ISO lead and let him just go north and south, because that's what he does. You get him through that front line and up on a support safety in space, and then he can use his speed and just get out of there and just go. I think pass protection is all, he needs to improve. The interception that McCarthy threw, there was a blitzing linebacker that got a lot of pressure. Kene was kind of going the wrong way, so that's another part of being a running back is pass protection. And that's something, again, you got to work on. They're going to get a lot of work on that against Cleveland. That's where you're excited to see a physical type defense, so you can get in there and work on those things. Overall, again, still waiting to see what's the handful of running plays that we do and we're going to do no matter what. What's our identity going to be? Because we saw, I think, a number of different styles and runs, just conceptually. So it's kind of like, all right, well, which one of these are we going to settle on? And I thought there were a couple, Walter Rouse, Michael Juergens, I thought a couple of young offensive linemen did some really, really good things. So, again, these are the guys that I'll start watching a little more closely when we play Cleveland to see if these guys are really going to make a run at being on the final roster.
My man, Bercich. See you tomorrow on the bus.
All right, boss. See ya.
See you, buddy. Pete Berich, analyst for the Vikings Radio Network. And there's a night practice this evening at 7 o'clock. Then the team leaves tomorrow for Cleveland. The joints are Wednesday and Thursday. Ooh, by the way, today, 2 hours from now, I will be at Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park, 394 and 100 adjacent to the West End, 12:30 to 1:30, chatting Vikings football. There's a food truck outside. Vikings Table food truck. It just arrived. They'll be serving food beginning at 11:30. We have an autographed CJ Ham jersey plus much more to be given away. So stop by Continental Diamond, continentaldiamond.com. About 12:30 today. I'll be there till 1:30, and we can chat some ball.
Man. Welcome back. It is News du Nord on 9 to noon, and it's always brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, canterburypark.com. You can go there for event details, and, of course, the 2024 live racing schedule is still in place. You can go to the website, find out when you can watch the ponies and watch, wager, and win.
We only have like 15 live racing days left, maybe 15, 16, 17, something like that. And the Corgis, the dog races are Sunday. The Corgis run
this Sunday
at 1 o'clock this Sunday. Kids always love those fluffy babies.
Yeah, the family days are elite. As good a spot as you're going to find in the entire metro. So get to Canterbury and via the website, get your schedule planned out. And, of course, you're feeling the felt, right? It's poker, blackjack, and table games all year round. CanterburyPark.com. We'll start with the Minnesota Twins, PA.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. I love the spot. I got to get it. Do you think Hannah would like corgis? Hannah would like corgis.
Yeah, probably in a year and a half. But we got the other babies who I think they're at the age now where maybe they want to pick them up and hold the fluffy baby.
They absolutely do. The Minnesota Twins split the series over the weekend with the Cleveland Guardians. They went back-to-back on Friday.
Yep. And then they lost the next two.
Yeah.
I was an inch Friday night sitting in the sinkhole from jumping on Twitter and predicting, wow, this is crazy. They're going to be in first place after Sunday because the Guardians, the no-hitting Guardians, could not get out of their way, having lost 7 in a row. But wow, if I put that thing out there, that would have been one of those old takes exposed extravaganzas.
Well, the no-hitting part was mostly true, right? Because on Saturday they lose that 2-1 game. You actually get a pretty nice outing from Simeon Woods Richardson, but it was the Twins who couldn't hit.
Yep.
And then even until I think it was the 6th or 7th inning yesterday where they exploded for 4 or 5 runs. They win the game 5-3. I mean, the Cleveland Guardians could not. That's truly a bit. They could not hit for most of the weekend, but they do find their way to a split. Hey, when you're leading the AL Central this far into the mix, you find ways to win games, and that's what they did. So they began the series 3.5 games back in the division. They end the series 3.5 games back in the division.
But there is negativity within the covenant, and it's interesting that when they got the news, Joe Ryan done. I mean, I think it's the entire season.
It sounds like the teres major. That's something under your arm. I'm not a big anatomy guy.
The Stewart, the quality reliever, and
he's out of the mix.
Yeah, well, he has a problem, and Paddock dead. So but the news that came down Saturday. You know, after Wallner, I believe is it Forest Lake go crazy? It's Minnesota go crazy. Such a joyous Friday evening. And then listening to the quotes about JoJo and the injuries and everything, it went from 10 right down to 1 with how they were feeling. And then they lose back to back, so the deficit is make-upable, but the Guardians are not going to continue to hit this porously the rest of the year.
Right.
And their bullpen's good, and they get the Gavin Williams cap back, so they got some things going over there. I think this will be a daunting task, catching them.
I think it will, but here's the key, is you can't just avoid the rearview mirror either, PA. They got 3 starting today against the Royals. And the Royals are just a half game back behind them in the division. So if you're playing the wild card games right now, Twins, I think they have a 3-game cushion in terms of their wild card positioning, but just a half game behind them, and also a wild card team would be the Royals. When's the last time that 3 AL Central teams, by the way, were playoff operations? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the Royals are liking themselves a little bit right now. Fun. I think it's Lopez on the mound today. Then we'll find out how they're handling Joe Ryan tomorrow. And then it shall be Bailey Ober in Game 3.
And Singer goes for the Royals today, and he's one of their best 3 pitchers. As I recall, Byron Buxton and I think Trevor Larnach have had a lot of success against Singer. And it's just crazy here that you talk about injuries and the level of concern or consternation within the clubhouse covenant about those injuries. And none of them involve Byron Buxton.
I always love that one.
Who just goes out and smashes home runs.
Yeah.
I think he gets a home run tonight against Brady Singer. That just hit me right now. But Buxton has had success against Singer. Excited for tonight.
Excited for the Olympics as they wound down over the weekend, but a couple of hoops teams needed to get over the hump for gold. First, here's the men.
Durant, back to Curry, dancing on Batum, over the double team.
Shot was...
It's a golden dagger! Night! Curry, unconscious in the fourth.
I mean, it was... We've seen him do this for so many years, so maybe it was boring to some people, but as you watch Team USA find their way to a gold, and Anthony Edwards had his moments and all of that, but it came down to who? It came down to Steph Curry, came down to Durant, came down to LeBron. I think Booker played a fair amount, nearly 30 minutes of the gold medal game, but then Embiid. But Steph Curry, how many times have we? And it's so obnoxious.
Yeah.
When he does the night, the sleepy time bit.
But he was hitting big time threes and big time moments.
Well, it was for us this time. I didn't have to be annoyed by it. I just had to appreciate a guy who shoots it like he's just bleeping around at a YMCA, shooting it over Wemby and another guy. May have been Batum as part of that that double team.
Yeah.
But they hoisted gold. That's sweet.
But Friday, I mean. Joker guy had him beat.
Yeah.
I mean,
they had to grind.
Bogdanovich, the one who plays with Atlanta, he's never played better in his life. Bogdanovich, I believe. And Jokic, when he wasn't shooting from 3, he was unstoppable, even though a fair amount of the players on the court looked a little out of shape. And that was kind of the common thread during the Olympics at certain stages with certain players. But they were down, like 13 into the final quarter. Quite honestly, those Serbs are so tough. They're just nobody knew any of the names outside of 2 guys. They were just super tough and mean.
Yeah.
And man, the United States blew by them like they were tied to a post early in that fourth quarter.
The women's game, I did not watch at PA, but I do know that it came down to the wire, and here's the finish.
Kalia Copper has been Kalia gold today. No timeouts here. Johannes up ahead. It's Williams. That was a 2. Banked it in. A 2-ball. And the United States is going to claim gold for the 8th consecutive Olympics. What a finish. Williams with her foot on the line.
And you're absolutely right. 2 points, but not enough.
All right, I'm going to talk here for a second because I sent you a direct message. Take a peek at the direct message, open the whole thing. Spine Tingler, got the gold. Racetrack raised. Doesn't matter how you get to the winner's circle as long as you get there, and we're all posing for pictures and cashing bets. So it doesn't matter. They won. They got the gold. They haven't lost an Olympic game in 30 some odd years, and haven't somehow in 92 they didn't manage to get the gold. Let's see, got radio shows in Cleveland beginning Wednesday. Maybe we have Miss Reeve on tomorrow. We can start working on that to capture the emotion and recap some of the Nous regardons la télévision pourquoi with the French experience. You looked at that DM?
Yeah, why?
I know, right?
Yeah, it's just unacceptable.
Just get used to that for the next 3 months.
I think
because that's how it's going to be. the covert clandestine talking.
Yep.
And we're not going to share.
That's correct.
We're just going to have baby fun between each other, and that's going to be it.
And I think that's as much as I want. That's all I could ever want, really, in this particular case. The ladies got bronze in 92. They had to beat Cuba for the bronze medal. I didn't even Cuban basketball. You didn't know, now you know.
Right.
That's it for News to Nord, by the way. Thank you to Canterbury Park, specifically the casino at Canterbury Park. And I did have a couple of NFL nuggets, but I think those will actually fit in quite nicely with some camp cuts to kick off the final hour.
Yep. Interesting week 1 in preseason. Now, did Jacksonville play Kansas City?
Jacksonville played Kansas City. I think it was an evening game after hours.
All right. See that? So you said something earlier, and I missed it, like over the weekend, but Florio tweeted about it 10 minutes ago at Pro Football Talk. Saturday safety in Jacksonville shows that everyone needs to figure out the nuances of the new kickoff formation. Fans, media, coaches, players, officials, and the league needs to get the word out as to all nuances before week 1. I mean, I don't know what happened on this thing, but it's of the cabal variety. So, all right. Got to take a peek at that, see what's going on with that.
I'll have some intel for you around the corner on it. It's kind of interesting. It was a massive flub that a year ago would have been no big deal.
Well, and even though I told you what the answer was last week, because I was told by the team, I can't remember now what happens when it's the penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. Let's go to break. Let's come back. Let's go to the 50 again or something like that. I can't remember, man. It's so goofy. All right. It's 11 o'clock in the neighborhood. Earlier, we discussed, of course, J.J. McCarthy and his debut. Likewise for Caleb Williams and his debut about 30 minutes from now. I watched all of Bo Nix's snaps yesterday for Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos and was quite impressed with some and saw a lot of rookie with some others. And we will tie that together about 30 minutes from now after camp cuts and some thoughts from around the National Football League courtesy of FM 100.3 KFAN.